I have an update on the Trader Joe's bells for all of our, I mean, we have so many listeners. I just wanted to quickly update them. So I don't know if you guys know this. One bell is for them to open more cash registers. Two bells is assistant needed at a register. Maybe like a product check or an item lookup. Three bells, manager or captain needed.
Captain?
And then four bells, fucking all hands on deck. Busy time, baby.
So if you ever walk into a Trader Joe's and hear four bells, is it probably the best self-preservation to just turn around and get the heck right out of there?
Yes, probably. Yep, especially if you're with children.
I mean, I imagine four bells means all the hummus is sold out.
Yeah. or they're fresh out of JoJo's.
Every time I walk into a Trader Joe's, I get hit with the flag reaction.
Got hit with the what?
It's not that we didn't think your joke was funny, Chris. You completely cut out right after I get hit with the punchline. We missed it.
Flowers. Yeah.
You know, it's raining here in Pennsylvania. I am fully plugged in with the internet. I am plugged in. I am not on Wi-Fi, but it's raining in Pennsylvania, so everything's going to hell.
Always sunny in Philadelphia.
No. No Vacancy is the self-storage podcast that pulls back the roll-up door on the industry's most outrageous stories, toughest challenges, and unexpected laughs. Hosted by the team at Access Self-Storage, each episode brings together real operators, sharp marketers, and off-the-wall personalities to talk about what really goes on behind the gate code. From crazy tenant tales to hard-won lessons in customer service, it's raw, unfiltered, and a little irreverent, just like life in self-storage. I'm so glad you brought that knowledge up about the bells, because the only other time I've really seen a bell in use is when someone gives the bartender a very handsome tip at certain bars. You know, they clang the bell and everybody goes crazy. I thought people were tipping the Trader Joe's employees, and every time they got a little something, they would clang.
Welcome to O's.
I felt so guilty about not tipping. Because, you know, they're doing everything. They're ringing it up for you. They're putting it in the bag.
Yeah.
Loading it in the cart, wishing you a nice day.
Yeah.
Well, now I don't have to worry about bringing cash to Trader Joe's anymore. Here we go. Dan Gates, Gates Realty, Vice President. Welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
Good. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your being here and all your time, that you're going to be stuck with us today. So thanks, Dan.
All good. Happy to be here.
Excellent. So, Dan, can you tell us a little bit about the Gates Realty origin story, where and how it started, and where it is now, and where's it going to go?
So it starts back in the 1950s. My grandfather and his brother, you know, they came back from World War II, and they wanted to start a marina, and they lived in northern New Jersey. And so there's this nice piece of land that used to be swamp where our offices sit now. And they acquired it, and their intention was to build a marina. Now, during that time, they were approached by someone who was looking for help building something offshore. I can't remember exactly what it was, if it was a dock or something like that. And Bob, who was my grandfather's brother, said, yeah, sure, we can do that. And that was kind of the origins of Gates Construction. So over time, they built out this maritime construction company. And so they did docks and piers and pipelines and things like that all throughout northern New Jersey, up to Connecticut, down to Atlantic City. And then my father got involved. He became an engineer, and he was working at the company, helping on that front. And they did that up into the late 80s, early 90s. Wow. And at that point, when Bill was looking at, you know, taking over the company, he was kind of saying, hey, you know, the construction industry is great when times are good, and it's really bad when times are bad. And at that point, they had a couple buildings on our properties that they started leasing out. And Bill said, you know what, I think that if we go develop some of the land we have and build these small warehouses, we can lease them out. and it'll just be a much steadier cash flow, and everyone will sleep a lot better at night. And so they ended up selling the construction company to a company called Great Lakes, and they took that money and they just started building out all the land that we have here in Little Ferry. And so we became Gates Realty. Around the same time, they built their first self-storage over at 50 Bergen, which is a self-storage at Little Ferry. That did well. And so one of his next projects was a self-storage of Haledon, both facilities you guys manage for us. And then, we've been doing the real estate side of things ever since. And so, we like to say we build homes for small businesses. We own about 700-ish thousand square feet of warehouse space, but our average unit size is about 3,600 square feet. So nowadays, call it small bay or micro bay or something like that. But these little flex units, they have either a loading dock or a drive-in door, and it's perfect for a variety of different uses. So we have a lot of import-export people. I think every wig that ends up in New York City comes through one of our warehouses, like there's a lot of really random stuff that comes through. But we have about 150, 160 tenants. And now I'm third generation coming in and looking to keep it going and keep growing. So
you mentioned Access manages both of those locations on a scale of 1 to 10. Would you say we're like a 15 in terms of management?
Yeah, I'll give you 10.5. Not 15, but pretty good. Pretty good.
Love it. I really like what you just said, Dan, that you guys create a home for small businesses. That's a really awesome way to kind of think about the approach and the I guess the core need for the service that you guys provide.
It's very much like apartments, right? We're really hands-on when it comes to property management. There's tons of landlords out there, and a lot of them, they own a building, and sometimes they care and sometimes they don't. But we do truly care. We try to make the experience as easy as possible for our tenants. These are small spaces, mom and pop shops. If a light bulb goes out, we could tell them to fix it, and then they got to go hire an electrician or someone, and they got to get a lift because the ceilings are 20 feet high, and it becomes a whole shtick. Or we can just do it for them. So we try to make life easy. And then in turn, hopefully they pay, right?
Absolutely. Have you guys ever dabbled into residential or completely stayed away from that altogether?
No, we've stayed away from it. It could be an option, but as of right now, we like the commercial side.
Gates Realty is a family-owned real estate company based in Little Ferry, New Jersey. Since 1985, the company has developed and managed a portfolio of flexible industrial, commercial, and self-storage properties across the Northeast. Gates Realty focuses on creating adaptable spaces for small businesses and entrepreneurs, and they've partnered with Access Self-Storage on several facilities to provide professional management and revenue optimization.
Have you ever considered, your education has brought you all over the country, all over the world, really. Have you ever considered other places that you've lived at for a long period of time? Michigan, California. I know you spent some time in China. Have you ever considered going national or international with the brand or investments?
Probably not international. Yeah, I think that's probably off the table for now. National, for sure. I think what we build can work anywhere. You've seen it work anywhere. That being said, we're pretty hands-on with management. And so if we were to expand, say my sister lives in Seattle. All right, so what if we acquired some stuff in Seattle? Well, you'd probably want to get enough of a footprint where you could justify, a local manager, and you can justify maybe one or two maintenance guys so that we can manage it the way we want to. Now, there's plenty of operators out there that use third-party managers. There's JLL and Cushman, and all those big players have third-party property managers. And for the most part, they're fine, right? They are. But it's going to eat into your bottom line a little bit, and you're not going to be able to manage it exactly the way that we do. And so if you're okay with that, that's fine. I'm just not sure we are at this point. So we'll see. None of that's off the table. But that being said, most of my focus has been within call it 2 to 3 hour drive of our office.
So you do look for properties, not just New Jersey, maybe like Connecticut markets, Pennsylvania, New York.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that how the kind of current climate post-COVID has changed things a bunch, and how I guess demand ebbs and flows over time, right? So you guys have been in business in the current kind of more current model for 4 decades plus or so,
Mm-hmm.
in business overall for 7 decades or so. So obviously in that amount of time, you've seen ebbs and flows, ups and downs a lot. What do you think are some of the kind of key things to keep you guys just that have led to your longevity and that have kept you from kind of struggling through some of those? I mean, there's always struggle, but I mean, how have you been able to stay successful and keep your company approach and culture pointed forward for that long?
Yeah, I mean, I got to give 100% of the credit to Bill, my father, who really built the real estate side of things. I mean, I know that we were levered to the hilt when we were building out a lot of the stuff in our area, but really quickly his goal was, okay, let's get leverage down. And then, for us, it's just live off the cash flow once the leverage is down. So across our portfolio, our leverage is really minimal. It's probably not ideal. It's like so low. But, the flip side of that is if there are other acquisition opportunities, we have the ability to, put that on something we own and then go after something, right? So that's helpful. But, having the low leverage helps you weather any storm, right? Also, one of the good things about kind of the small bay side is that, we might have a 50,000 square foot building with 10 tenants in it, right? So if the economy does really poorly, you might have 3 tenants that go bankrupt. Well, you still have 7, right? And then again, with these really small units where we play in, these kind of like 2,000 to 5,000 square foot spaces, the demand is always usually there. Now your rents will go up and down, but again, if your leverage is low enough, you can handle the depressed rents, and in general, you stay relatively well leased, right? So I think the asset type in general is a little bit more sustainable, kind of similar to self-storage, right? Self-storage, once you're stabilized, even in a downturn, your occupancy is going to take a hit, no question. But is it going to go to 0? Probably not, right? Whereas you look at these big, 100,000, 200, 500,000 square foot buildings that have 1 or 2 tenants in them. Well, that tenant leaves. Okay, now you're sitting on a tax bill that could be $1 million a year, right? That so your carry can be so expensive, and that's where I think people can get into trouble. But on the flip side, a lot of the companies that play in that space are really well capitalized, so a lot of them can survive. Generally, multi-tenant, smaller stuff. It's just a little bit more stable in good times and bad. But the management's intensive. It's similar to self-storage. I mean, we have a lot of tenants, and some are awesome, some are challenging. Things break all the time, and you got to fix it. You got to stay on top of it.
Without naming any names, because you've seen a lot of tenants come through your doors over the years, can you tell us what your most interesting mom and pop shop or business that stayed with you was, that warehoused with you was?
I know Bill's answer was we had a guy, we don't have him anymore, but he used to manufacture the wood boards that they would use in like karate. So like kids would chop these boards in half, and he just had a warehouse where he was just cutting these things out and just shipping them all over. So that was pretty interesting. Like I said, like every wig, I didn't know that wigs were so popular. I had no idea. But we have someone who occupies a lot of space with us is just moving wigs left and right. So
well, I got to get over
that,
there.
Yeah,
get my fitting scheduled.
You and me both.
Yeah, maybe I can hook you guys up with some samples.
Please.
This would be a good time to make sure this was published on video.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, I don't know. There's not that many super interesting things. Once in a while, you get someone who's got a unique concept. But for the most part, it's a lot of people bringing in beauty products, bags, clothes, whatever.
I'm thinking about how often I would go to the unit of the guy making the karate boards and ask him if he could hold a board for me.
Just start hammering stuff. Yeah. I mean, you'd feel awesome, right? Like the Hulk.
Oh my God.
My mind,
great.
I know how old I am now because when you mentioned the boards, I thought, I wonder what he does with them after they break. I bet you that would make really good kindling for the fireplace. So that's how old I am now. Just worried about the fireplace. Yeah. That's a shame. Damn it. Got to get me
So
a
should
wig,
we
though. I'm going to feel 20 years younger.
Mm-hmm.
Should we spend 1 minute just to clarify and clear up any potential misconceptions about Bill?
About Bill
Bill and
Gates.
his and well, right.
Yeah,
Which
Bill
one?
Gates, the famous small day developer in northern New Jersey. That one.
Exactly.
I'm not sure who else you
We
could be
got his
talking
son.
about.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I think he did a good job there.
Not the Microsoft guy.
Not that other guy that
Totally
you may
different.
have heard
Yeah.
of. Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Good. Glad we could clear that up.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case any of our listeners were excited or confused.
So what's next for you guys? What are you doing? Talk to us about the mixed use a little bit in southern New Jersey that you're exploring. And I've heard a lot of talk about open space parking, canopy parking, the need for that. I mean, you're right in the shadows of New York City, so everybody's looking for parking, and it's quite expensive. Is there land? Have you considered double and triple decking parking spaces? Is there a return in that?
You know, we haven't looked at that. We have a yard at the end of our street that just opened up that's going to be more self-storage parking, but we're going kind of bigger spots, right? So a lot of car haulers in our area, and they need 75-foot spots, and it's hard enough to find trailer spots, never mind a 75-foot one. So we're going to have a handful of those in there. Haven't thought about decking anything. I feel like a lot of the demand around here is for tractor trailers, box trucks, things like that. I mean, if you're looking at decking parking for them, I mean, that's a pretty significant infrastructure project. And you've seen some of these multi-story warehouse buildings in New York and things like that. And I think some of them are doing okay. I know some of them are having a hard time leasing. But man, you look at the engineering that goes into being able to get a truck up, 40 feet in the air. It's pretty wild. It's not cheap. I'm not sure the return's going to be there just for parking, at least where we are in New York. Land's even more constrained. It maybe it pencils, or I guess people are saying it does. But we haven't looked at double decking parking anywhere yet. Who knows?
Gotcha. Is the future? I'm sure you're hoping the future is in the flex space. Is that where the combination of self-storage and warehouse comes together, at least on a commercial side?
I think the demand has always been there. Self-storage is max out, call it 300, 400 square foot for a unit. I mean, we have these small bay units as small as 1,200 square feet, and they're always leased, right? So that kind of tells you if the large self-storage units are leased, the small warehouse units are leased, there's probably people in the middle. We've seen a handful of these co-warehousing, or flex companies come up. They seem to be doing pretty well. I mean, I think we're uniquely situated between your management, self-storage, our management, and the small bay to be able to handle it really well. So we'll see. I think there's definitely more opportunity in that space for sure. But it comes down to finding the right land or the right buildings to make it work.
Access Self-Storage is the premier third-party management company in the Northeast. While the big guys rely on scale, we rely on performance. Our properties outperform the national operators year over year in both revenue growth and NOI. Why? Because we combine smart revenue management, update and optimize hyperlocal marketing, and a customer-first relationship approach that drives results. If you're looking for a management partner that treats your property like their own, Access Self-Storage is here for you. I had such a good Bryce story for you guys. I had to write it down. It was so good, and I can't find where I wrote it down. This is fun.
That's how you know you're getting old.
Bear
bro.
with me. So Bryce came home with his, at the end of February, they get sent home with all the great stuff that they did in class. And he brought home a lot of the Valentine's Day stuff. And so Lee was reading it, and it said different messages from different people. So his teachers wrote very kind. Some of the kids wrote funny, helpful, smart, silly. And then he had 5 comments throughout that said handsome, 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 handsome. And Lee was talking to him, and she's like, there's a number of people in your class that think you're a pretty good looking kid. And he just looks her dead in the eye and goes, my plan is working. Did
Please tell me you asked probing questions.
Yeah.
What was the follow-up?
I wasn't there. That's all I got. I just thought it was a great response by him.
I just suddenly pictured your youngest son as like the brain from Pinky and the Brain. You know?
Yeah. What's next in commercial for you guys? Are you looking at more small bay or different angles of that style?
For sure. I mean, we're working with you guys on a self-storage development. We're working on a piece of land. We're trying to get entitled. Hopefully I'll have entitlements soon. I've been saying that for 6 months. It's just the way it goes. Kind of down by Philly area, and that'll be similar to what we own up here, the small bay warehouses. And then we're working on the kind of co-warehousing concept with you guys. And so we'll see how that goes. Just fighting to get permits, you know. That's the way it goes in our business.
The fighting for permits, has that always been a constant, or have the fights gotten more severe?
You know, towns are trying to do their job, right? I mean, building inspectors, they have a job to do. They want to make sure buildings are safe. I get that, right? I think it's gotten harder to get permits. You know, if I look at a pair or a set of plans we did for one of our properties in Little Ferry back in 1992, you know, the engineering plans were 4 pages. The architectural plans were 11 pages. You know, what were the plans for Egg Harbor, right? I mean, these are drive-up, grade-level self-storage units, probably some of the simplest buildings you can make. And due to all the IBC code and the updated ADA codes and the updated mechanical and electrical, I mean, it's like 70 pages for a set of plans, right? And that's just so that they can hit all the boxes for all the code requirements. So code requirements have gotten a lot stiffer. I think a lot of it's for good reason. You know, all it takes is one fire somewhere and someone didn't have something they should have, and then everyone goes, oh, well, we all need to have that, right? And I get it. But yeah, it's definitely a lot harder. And on the entitlement side of things, it's super hard. It just takes a lot of time and patience, which is the challenging part.
Yeah, so we all definitely had a bit of experience with, you know.
Sorry, Brian. You were like, the wheels were turning, and I wasn't sure if I should go or you should go, so I let you.
This is all getting edited out.
Sorry, I'll leave it.
Just leave it. Let everybody know how much we have to think before we speak. Well, hey, that would be a good lesson for a lot of people. Take that 10-second pause and think before you open your damn mouth. Dan, I was really interested in the work that you do on like the site acquisition side of things. When you're evaluating a property, if something comes across your desk that is, you know it's potentially interesting, what are some of like the key criteria that you would evaluate, you know, without giving away too much of your secret sauce? So what are like the top few components that you would look at to determine whether something would be a great fit for potentially self-storage or small bay, or now adding in that kind of in between of the co-warehousing?
Sure. I don't think I'm giving out too many secrets. I mean, I think people that do this for a living all have a similar process. But yeah, I mean, if you see a piece of land, probably the first thing is just zoning, right? Like, what are you allowed to do? There are people out there, and hats off to them, that they don't really care what the zoning is. They have no problem going into the zoning board and applying for a use variance or something like that. We try to stay away from it. They're hard to get a lot of the times. And so, you know, for me, it's looking at the zoning. Can we do self-storage by right? Or can we do warehouse, industrial, light manufacturing, something like that by right? And if we can, you're looking at the bulk regs. What are the setbacks? How much do you think you can actually build on it? So I spend a lot of my time, you know, actually in CAD sketching things up and trying to see, okay, these are the bulk regs. These are the setbacks. You know, there's a certain amount of impervious you're allowed to do. And so a lot of times, you know, regulations might say you can build 60% of the site with a building, but by the time you add the parking, stormwater and all that, you really might only be able to get, you know, 30% FAR or 40% FAR. So there's a lot of kind of just blocking and tackling on that front. So, you know, you look at the the site, look at the zoning, look at your bulk regs, and then you can kind of back into how much you think you can build, and then it's just market research and what you think rents are. When it comes to the self-storage, I mean, we rely heavily on you guys for that. I don't do any of that legwork.
That was a 10.5 out of 10. Just coming back to that real quick.
Yeah. But yeah, we have a pretty good idea on what rents are, especially in our neck of the woods, especially on the warehouse side of things. And then you just kind of underwrite it and see what do you think the returns are. It's been super challenging, probably since COVID. The value of land, especially in northern New Jersey, it's gotten really high. You have these iOS players out there who are able to justify a much higher purchase price because of the land rent some people have been able to get on just essentially, a paved or graveled lot. So that's pretty much no capital in, and you're able to get a big rent. Whether that's here to stay or whether that's a blip, who knows? I mean, I think that's going to be a little bit more volatile than kind of just the typical small bay stuff, because obviously when economy's humming and imports are in, people need yard space, and when it's not, people don't. But that being said, there's not a whole lot of land left in northern New Jersey. So we've been looking further south, and going from there. But those are kind of the main basis of how I look at a piece of land. And we've looked at tons and tons and tons. And over the past few years, we're working on 3.
All right. Dan Gates, you ready for the lightning round?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. Favorite choice of caffeine in the morning?
Coffee. Black.
Okay. How many cups throughout the day?
2.
Okay. First concert you ever attended?
So I had to look this up. I knew this question was coming. I went to a Warped Tour in 2007.
Okay.
In New Jersey. I'm trying to remember. The one band I remember was Coheed and Cambria.
Sure. They just put out a new album last year.
And then Atreyu was another one that I remember, which is a little bit screamo metally, but
oh yeah,
great to work out to.
Heck yeah.
Is that your favorite genre of music? What's your favorite genre?
I am all over the map. I don't really have one favorite. Depends on what I'm doing, the mood I'm in. But yeah, I'm pretty open.
Most recent
I'm so
concert.
excited that Atreyu made an appearance on this podcast, by the way. I just got to say, my younger brother, also named Dan, shout out Dan, he would be very excited to hear this.
Yeah, no, Atreyu, Under Oath, all those guys, yeah, they're all Warped Tour. Most recent, all right, so it was like 8 years ago, LCD Sound System in Berkeley. I forget that it's kind of like a famous arena there, Pantheon or something like that. But yeah, that's who we saw. And I wasn't an LCD Sound System fan whatsoever. Mm-hmm. I listened to their music. I think on the way there, I was like, "This is gonna be weird," and it was an unbelievable show.
It is unique. They're unique.
Yeah,
musical act for sure. Did you dance yourself clean? It's a great song.
Probably.
All right. We're getting towards the summer. Mm-hmm. So give us, and we'll go around for this one because none of us have answered this question before. A vacation spot that you haven't been to yet that's on your bucket list.
Local or anywhere?
Anywhere.
I really want to do Australia and New Zealand. That's kind of a big one I want to do.
Such a long flight.
It's really far with 3 kids. It's just not in the cards anytime soon. We are going to go to Disney in May with the kids. It'll be the first time doing that. I haven't been in years and years and years. So I'm looking forward to it. I think the kids will have a really good time. So that's the big one we got coming up.
Yeah. I think Brian can probably help you plan it.
Yeah. I'm a little addicted to the mouse.
Brian, bucket list vacation spot?
Banff National Park, right? Is that it in Canada?
Yep.
Am I saying that right? Yeah, Banff National Park. Definitely want to do that.
Very cool. How about you, Rockoff?
Greece. I really, really want to go to Greece.
Everywhere, Santorini, Athens, all of it.
The whole deal. Yeah.
Right on. I'm heading to Scotland. Go find some ancestors somewhere. Go explore a castle that may be named after us. Who knows? But yeah, would love to do that someday. All
nothing
right.
to do with Scotch, right, Chris? Nothing to do with whiskey.
No, I can't handle. No, I don't want anyone sending me Scotch. It's horrible. No offense to the Scotch drinkers of the world.
Well, now you can't go there.
This could be the hottest take I've ever given, but no, please. No, it has nothing to do with Scotch. I don't like Scotch. I'd much rather go to Dublin and enjoy the Jameson. No, please don't send us Scotch. But if you're looking for a sponsorship, Johnny Walker, give us a call. Happy to go. Okay. The last one I have, more annoying fan base, Ohio State or Philadelphia?
Man. Ohio State.
Ohio State, yeah. I was hoping you were going to say that as a Michigan alum. I hope we went right to your heart there.
Yeah, I have to say Ohio State. Yeah.
But
I don't have that visceral hatred that seems to crop up between the two. It's kind of crazy. It's like a little much, to be honest. But don't get me wrong. I love beating Ohio State.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. That's all we got. That's it.
Right. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us, Dan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. This was awesome.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for listening to No Vacancy. If you like what you heard, listen to us wherever you stream your podcasts.